public services is. Because, you know, if Ronnie had been in the United States and didn't have full healthcare insurance cover,
I wouldn't have been here.
Absolutely. Just remember that when we talk about the National Health Service, there's something very, very special about it. What I also want to say is thank you to all of you for being here today. The last time I was in Blythe, I was running along that beach there. Nobody told me how strong the wind was or how cold it was. But it was lovely. What a fantastic place. And thank you all for being here, coming and support us today. We're doing rallies and meetings all over the country. And I'm being told to look in about 5 different directions at the same time. There's a camera over there, you see. And there's a camera over there. And there's a crowd over here. So I'll just turn about and share it out, okay? These crowds that are coming out everywhere and the numbers of people coming to support us in this election are truly outstanding. Last Friday, a record was set in British politics. Almost £500,000 was donated to the Labour Party. No, it wasn't from a billionaire. It didn't come from the Cayman Islands. It didn't come to the British Virgin Islands. It wasn't in a cheque, and it certainly wasn't in a barrow load of cash. Do you know what it was? People online donating small sums of money to help fund our campaign. The average donation was £19. £19. And you know what? I'm very proud of that figure because it shows where our support is and where our support isn't. We all know the difference between a party that can raise millions from a few phone calls and a party that can raise money from its members, from its supporters and from the people who want something different and better in this country. Thank you very much for your help and your support. This election is also about the choice that people are going to face in this country. 5 more years of this Conservative government, 5 more years of a Conservative government underfunding health, underfunding education, not investing in industry, not investing in infrastructure. What kind of country would we be at the end of that? How many more people would be working for less than living wage? How many more would be on 0 hours contracts? How many more would be homeless and sleeping rough because they couldn't find anywhere to stay? What kind of society would it be? And if you have an economic strategy, as the Tories do, which essentially is a free market economy, tax relief for the big corporations, tax write-offs for the rich, and cuts for the rest. Or you have our alternative. Ronnie, hold the book up, please. Thank you. This is the book of words. This is the book of words. And what we're saying there is something very, very different. It is about our investment for the future, about railways, roads, broadband. It is about high technology, sustainable businesses and industries for the future. And it is about doing it fairly across the whole country. Why is it that there's nearly 10 times as much transport investment in London and the South East as there is in the North East? Why is it all so bad with the North West and the East Midlands? There has to be fairness across the whole country. And so the proposal, the plan that's clear in the manifesto from John McDonnell is a national investment bank for the whole country, regionally based, that will invest fairly across the whole country so that we do get those jobs. And also support places where we've achieved things, like what Arch has done through the County Council to improve the communities, improve the area and invest in our future and our future jobs. So that the wind turbine technology that's needed out there in the North Sea can be done here in Blythe, so the port of Blythe can develop, so the industry can develop in the area. You know what the key is? Public investment. Well done, those Labour county councillors that did so much to bring about Arch and what it did. What you now need is a Labour government behind it to bring about the investment we need for the future. But it's also about the future of all of us. Our children only get one chance in nursery, one chance in primary, one chance in secondary school. There's something quite appalling about the advice from government to our schools is, if you've got a funding crisis, have a collection amongst the parents to help pay the teachers and pay the teaching assistants and pay the staff in the school. What kind of message is that in 21st century Britain? I pay my taxes because I want our children educated fairly all across the country. I don't want our children educated by the lottery of where they live and how rich the local community is or how poor it is. I want the same chance for every child in every part of the country. No more the postcode lottery on education. Invest for every child everywhere in our country. But you know, it's what happens before children get to school that's so important. And that's why I want every child to have the chance of a good preschool chance in Sure Start centres, in nurseries, in playgroups. And so we're going to be offering 30 hours free childcare every week for every 2 to 4 year old to give them that equality of chance from the very beginning. And I think that is important. And in primary schools, we will properly fund those primary schools, as I've said. We will also ensure that all our children are properly fed. They will all get a free lunch every day in primary school, all of them having it together. And people say, well, this will cost a lot of money. Yes, it is expensive. Yes, it will cost. I think it's an investment for our future, and also the experience of all those children eating together, learning together and growing up together. Isn't that what our communities and life is all about? And there's one other thing that we're very proud of, which isn't in the great scheme of things that expensive, but could make such a difference. Our children are bright, intelligent, lots of ideas and lots of imagination, and they go to school to have all that creativity unlocked. I think all our children should get a chance in music, in art, in drama. So there's going to be a pupil arts premium for every child in every school to learn a musical instrument while they're in school. Again, that's unlocking the potential. That is, to me, so very, very important. And as they go through their education years, demands and needs change. But what's this government done? Cut down or cut altogether the education maintenance allowance, cut maintenance grants for students going to university, increased fees in colleges and increased fees in universities, now up to, in most cases, £9,000 per year. And you know what the result of that is? Fewer students from working class communities going to university, fulfilling their dream because they can't afford it and can't countenance the debt at the end of it. And so we've thought about this a great deal. What are we to do? Are we to say, well, okay, we'll let it carry on as it is and leave universities as the preserve of those that can afford it? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. If a young person has an ambition to develop a skill, to become an engineer, to become a teacher, to become anything they want to be, then it's up to all of us to provide the college places, the apprenticeships, the studying opportunities and the university places for all of them. And so it's going to be a big call to do it, but I'm determined that we do it, and that is to end university fees, bring back the EMA and bring back maintenance grants for those who need it. Because a young person who wants to achieve in life obviously does their best, but maybe doesn't make it, feels very frustrated. They couldn't afford to go to college, couldn't afford university, couldn't do what they wanted to do, thwarted in life. It's not right. And you know what? We all lose out as well. We all lose out because we've lost that nurse, lost that engineer, lost that teacher because they never had the chance. I want a chance for every child, every young person in every part of our country. That is what Labour will bring, that sense of doing things together for the good of all of us. And I'm very proud of that part of our manifesto. Ronnie talked and often does about health and about what's been achieved. Well, if we carry on like this, what kind of National Health Service would we have? Think about how it came about. Communities got together, supported the idea that you could in a society have a health service free at the point of use as a human right. A Labour government after the Second World War achieved that. Our proudest achievement, the most civilised thing about this country, about our society. And I'm determined that it will be a Labour government that will properly fund our NHS, so you won't have the idea of the corridor nurse caring for patients because there's nobody else to look after them because there's such a staffing shortage. We won't have the waiting times and waiting lists for elective surgery as well as for A&E departments. But you only deal with that by putting money into the NHS. There is no shortcut. And privatisation, by the way, won't bring about a better service. It'll bring about a better profit for those that want to take it out of the service. And so it will be us to do that. But it's also the social care crisis. 1 million, mainly elderly people, waiting for social care. They can't get it, it's not there, it's not available. What happens? Somebody in the family has to give up work or give up their life altogether to care for that person. Not because they don't love them, they do. Not because they don't want to support them, they do. But I just think it has to be done by the community as a whole. If we don't do that, it's women whose careers are damaged or lost altogether because they have to stay home or go and care for somebody. Therefore, we're going to put money straight into the social care system, 2 billion, but we're also going to set up a national care service because in this lottery of life, you get cancer, as sadly Ronnie did, but has recovered, and you get fully treated by the NHS, you get cared for and supported, and that's absolutely right. But if you have somebody who suffers dementia, then the family has to, some or other, expect you to find the money to support them. Surely, cancer and dementia should be equally supported by the principle of a health service completely for all. I'm not sure everybody in the Tory party fully understands this concept. They seem to have great difficulty getting their heads around this one. And so I want that. And the other thing I'd say on health, and I say it everywhere because I believe it very strongly and very passionately, there is a mental health crisis going on in Britain. We have people going through appalling stress. We have young people feeling isolated, alone, and in a very dark and dangerous place. And sadly, some of them even take their own lives as a result of it. We have to properly fund our mental health services, end the idea you wait 6 months to get any support or therapy. And the other thing we can all do, all of us, is support people going through those crises, end the stigma surrounding mental health, support those going through a crisis, help them get through it, and we're all a lot stronger as a result of it. We'll fund it, but we also need a step change in attitudes in our community. And today we were launching our housing manifesto at Derwent College. Fantastic. Labour's New Deal on housing. And I spoke to a group of building work apprentices there. Bricklaying, tiling, plumbing, all the skills that are necessary. And I told them, study hard, work hard, because we're going to need you to build the houses that a Labour government will build. We're going to need your skills to conquer the housing crisis in Britain, bring stability to it, give an opportunity for young people to buy homes in their own community, give councils the chance to build the houses that are necessary, and bring some regulation to the private rented sector and some stability and some security of tenure. We are we're the fifth richest country in the world. I think we can do a lot better in education, a lot better in health, and a lot better in housing. And so our manifesto is comprehensive, and it is, I think, something to be very excited about. Nobody can say in the general election of 2017 there wasn't a choice put before the British people. There is absolutely a choice. You can have a Tory government again. You can have a Tory government again, cutting services and all the other things. You can have a Tory government again that carries on as it is at the present time. Or you can have Labour MPs like Ronnie. You can have our fantastic elected representatives like Dave who is stepping down, sadly, as the MP for Blythe. Why are you doing that, Dave? And I want to say a big thank you to Dave Anderson for fantastic work in Parliament and all he's done. As a miner, as a union representative, as an MP, great friend, great supporter. And Dave, your work is not done, you know. I've got plans for you. And I thank Vera for the work she's doing in Police and Crime Commissioner. The way she stood up with all the other police and crime commissioners to try and save our police services. There's been huge cuts made. 20,000 police officers lost their jobs across the country. That's simply not right. Look at how wonderful and brave the police were in Manchester and in London, dealing with those terrible events. We need more police officers, not less. We need more support for them, not less. Vera, thank you for all you've done. And thank you for what you've also done in supporting the needs of women in the community and the way the police must respond to those who are victims of domestic violence and horrible treatment like that. And Ian Lavery standing behind me. No, there's no competition here. Ian, thank you very much. Well spotted. Ian is jointly coordinating our general election campaign, and what a fantastic job he's doing on that. They wrote us off, didn't they? They write us off at their peril. Ian and Andrew Gwynn have done an incredible job in getting this campaign going, and we've got rallies and meetings all over the country, thousands of people coming towards us. I want you to do this for the last few days, this campaign. There's going to be some clipboards somewhere here today. Yeah, I don't know where they are, but no, that's a Corex board. I want a clipboard. What we need is a clipboard. Yes, over there. Thank you. Thank you. And there's clipboards everywhere. Before you go, sign the clipboard. Don't forget to put your phone number and your email there, and help us on Thursday. Help us get Ronnie elected. Help us win in all those places, because we need to win to get a Labour government. But we also need to do something else. We've got tomorrow, which is Tuesday. We've then got Wednesday. Thursday's polling day. Have a conversation with everybody. What kind of country do you want to live in? What kind of world do you want to live in? Do you want a government that will say to Donald Trump, you're wrong about climate change? Dear Donald, sorry, you're wrong. Think on it, because if we destroy and pollute our planet, there's no hiding place. However rich you are, you're still going to be affected by it. It's only one planet. There's only one group of us. We've got to work together to support it and defend it. And I'll say that to him. But it's also about all of us. Communities coming together created the National Health Service. Communities coming together supported and defended the miners during the darkest days of the miners' strike. Communities came together to support those suffering when the steel industry was under threat. We have a government that passes by on the other side. We don't pass by on the other side in life. We support each other. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a government that said, actually, everybody in every community, in every part of this country matters? Everybody in every part of this country has a right to decent services and decent opportunities. So when you cast your vote on Thursday, when you cast your vote, think on this. Think on this. We have this chance to change the story. The financial crisis of 8 years ago should not be visited upon the poorest and most vulnerable, should not be paid for by frozen wages of public sector workers, should not be paid for by closing libraries and swimming pools, but should be paid for by an investment, and that will, yes, result in tax rises for big corporations and the wealthiest in our society. 95% will not pay any more, but we will all benefit. But it's also something we are saying together. We want a future for all our children. We want their creativity unlocked. We want prosperity to be shared. We want a decent trading relationship with Europe as we leave the European Union. We want all of those things. We have the determination, the ideas, and the spirit to do it. We're not going to do it alone. Polling day is election day to elect people and start that process of change. But when we work together as communities, we achieve things together. That's how we've got what we've got this far as a party. Our membership has now gone up to 600,000 and still rising. That's because people are inspired by what we're offering. I want to say to you, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out in the rain. I was told it was 29 degrees and the sun was shining, but that was just Ian Lavery. And so we're here today to thank you for your support for Ronnie, ask you to give it your all on Thursday to get a Labour government elected, and we'll show what we are made of and what we, all of us together, can achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny B. Can I hear you singing? Jeremy, for the guys here.